Yeah, you can quite a bit of graduation work. Still doing it. Not necessarily on the casino level, but
doing what? Putting.
Yeah.
It's like half a dozen people on that.
He's trying to get in.
You know, what's working, what's not working.
Very young,
All right, gang, let's work our way up towards the seats. We'll get our afternoon sessions going. We have a few people who are still working their way back to lunch.
yeah, that's right. You make me, yeah, right. Oh, no. The opposite of the opposite would be hang out with this guy. Are you going to make a running trip back there?
Well, I was told I was going to be carried in, but I don't know where my carriers are.
Yeah, we want to be carried like.
I don't have my agenda up here with me, but we've got Jake, and then after that, let's see, we've got Jake coming up, and then after that, we've got Jeffrey and the crew who are coming up and showing us some cool stuff that they brought with from Chauvet back there. We're excited to check that out. But first, we have one of the gentlemen who are on our team, well, actually one of our writers. We do have our female writer too, Tamara. But one of the gentlemen who started out, and we met him at it was a conference at the time, many years ago, and he came and was excited and got involved with that. And over time, we asked him to become one of our writers, and he's become one of our very popular writers that people really enjoy seeing each and every month. Well, the 3 people read his article every month, so I mean that's good. He's up, yeah, one's mom and at home no one really reads it for him, but that's okay. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Jake Palmer.
Thank you. Yeah, last year when I gave a presentation, I mentioned I thanked everyone for reading the article and all their responses to the article, and Ron Ruth came up to me afterward and said, "Do people really respond to your articles?" I said, "No, nobody ever emails me, but it's pretty good." So I think I've improved on my presentation from last year. First and foremost, I've got note cards with my speech. I'm kind of nervous, so I kind of put them all in order. There we go. All right, listen. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you guys for being here and coming today, because you're a small group of what I like to call the 1%ers. And I know no one probably actually read their Disc Jockey News yet this month. But I did do a little article in there about the 1%ers. And what I was trying to get at was just breaking down the fact that in every group or organization or industry, it seems like 20% of the people do 80% of the work. And that 20% is always carrying the load and always looking for ways to involve the other 80%. Of that 20%, there's what I like to call the 1%ers. And those are the people like you guys who go to the conferences and the conclaves and the seminars, and more importantly, you find ways to set your ego off to the side and really try to advance and grow. Speaking of advance, I forgot I have visual aids. So I think, without you guys, none of these things would be possible. We're the ones that kind of help the industry advance and grow as a whole, so to speak, and that's pretty important. So along with that idea of, the 1%ers, it kind of led me to my topic today of, like, how can we find a new way to learn? What can we do? When I started writing for Disc Jockey News, I started as a groom who was about to get married for the second time, but also as a wedding DJ who'd been a DJ for over 20 years. So I could really look at the whole process of planning the wedding with a new set of eyes and a different set of eyes. Most grooms really don't participate that much at all. They're getting more involved nowadays, but a lot of them have the same, tell me where to be, want to be there, I'll show up, honey, it'll be great. But it was interesting to really take a closer look at the process of what wedding vendors are like, how they treat the clients, and take that all in from somebody who knows from the other side of it. And that's how I kind of came up with my article name of From the Other Side. So that, along with the 1% idea, really advanced me and got me to where I'm at today. And what I did is I wanted to take our industry, which is the DJ and the entertainment industry, and it's very, as you all know, very ego-driven. We're all creatures of egos. If we weren't, we wouldn't get up on a stage with a microphone and go, hey, look at me. So, which is great from an entertainment standpoint, but it's really lousy from a learning standpoint. Because the biggest thing that the biggest obstacle when it comes to learning is your ego. It's learning to set your own ego aside and say, you know what, hit me, go ahead, criticize, critique, tell me what I can do better, tell me what I can do differently so that I can improve as an individual, and then hopefully share that with someone else and help them improve. So we all know, because we're the 1%ers, we're here at these events. You look around, you see a lot of the same faces at all the same, at the same conclave. I was here last year, you see the same people. So what I wanted to do is get a different perspective, kind of an outside point of view. Ken touched on it last night when we were discussing, when he was talking about becoming an officiant, and he said, think about it, how many officiants have seen another officiant officiate a wedding? Not very many. How many of you have ever seen anyone else DJ a wedding or do a wedding? Or how many other guys, I realize a lot of us probably have, but how many of the other people that are out there as DJs, wedding entertainers, have seen themselves or seen anybody else other than the guy who trained them? So what I wanted to do was go right to the source. And what I did is I came up with the idea of talking to venue managers at the hotels, places like here. And I created a questionnaire, if you will, a little survey that I could share with these venue managers. And you wouldn't believe the response. When I would walk into hotels and I would say, hey, I've got this questionnaire, this survey, and I wondered if you could fill it out so you could give me a different perspective. These guys, venue managers, caterers, wedding planners, while they can be the kind of the bane of our existence sometimes, they see it all. They see good DJs, they see bad DJs, they see really bad DJs. And so they really have a perspective. And I wanted to kind of get an idea of what they see and what they think. And this is really just step one. I'm hoping that a lot of what I can show you today, you can take, go home to your town, your market, your area, and advance it to the next level. And I'll tell you how we can do that as we kind of advance along here a little bit more. So, first of all, the questionnaire I created was broke down really into 3 different parts. One was just a simple, run-of-the-mill yes and no questions. And question number 1, do you prefer your DJ to contact you before the event? And surprisingly, every wedding planner who answered this said, yes, I want them to be in contact with me. And that got me thinking, well, how many DJs do this? For those of you that are taking notes, I have copies of this survey up here. You're more than welcome to help yourself to, and I will email you an electronic version if you want to. Just hit me up after the show. Second question, would you like your DJ to attend a planning meeting with you and the bride, leading up to the event, where you can actually sit down and have the hotel staff, the bride and groom, and the DJ all together and say, hey, let's work together and create this as a team. Surprisingly, 70% said no. Because, and Ken alluded to it earlier, and you'll get more from him when he talks, they don't want us in the way. As DJs, we've ruined the industry for ourselves in a manner that they just think that we get in the way and they don't want us in the way. So, next question, I said, do you expect your DJ to run the flow of the reception, to be the MC, to be the guy in the microphone saying, hey everybody, now we're gonna serve cake, and now we're gonna serve salads, and that type of thing. And not really to much surprise, 80% of the people I questioned said yes. I should point out, this is a pretty small sample group, considering the amount of time that I had. This is based on 13 questionnaires that were returned. So again, very small sample size. I'm not claiming that this is the end-all to beat-all, but I think what you'd find is that the differences wouldn't vary that much. You'd just get better and more concise information. If it was up to, I would love to get 200 of these surveys filled out and just really get a much better example. Second part of the questionnaire was a 1 through 5 rating system. 5 being the best, the most important. That's the end-all to beat-all, and 1 being the least. And then I asked them, quite honestly, just rate on a scale of 1 to 5, where do you list this importance, your DJ's appearance? The average questionnaire returned was a 4.1 out of 5, with 5 being the best. So that sounds about right. 4.3 for your sound system appearance. Never occurred to me, it did, but it didn't until I was meeting with a hotel general manager about joining a partnership with them, and he made the comment that we like what you do, and we especially like the look of your sound system. Who knew? And it turns out that the only people who really pay attention to what your sound system looks like are the DJ and the guy who recommends you the most. So these are things that kind of keep in mind. Music volume is always a big one. This is the most frustrating, and we'll talk more about this in a minute. Music volume is the one thing as DJs and entertainers that we have 1,000 complete, absolute control over, and it is literally the #1 complaint on every one of these sheets. Music's too loud, music's too loud, music's too loud. It's just mind-boggling to me because that's the one thing that there's really no other outside influence. You have complete control of the volume. You can do whatever you want with it, and that's the one where we see the most complaints, I guess you could say. Arrival time, a lot of things, people came back with their comments and talked about unorganized, rushed DJs setting up during dinner, things like that. DJ attitude is obviously important, so I think it's important to us as well. DJ personality, I don't think you need to expound on that, do you? Here's the interesting one, eating/drinking. This is exactly how I put it on the questionnaire. The average response was 3.5 from the venue managers in hotels. Now, this is a really hotbed topic, I think, for a lot of DJs and wedding entertainers. Obviously, and the reason I bring it up because I think while there is a difference, I think sometimes we misconstrue the difference. And we'll talk a little bit more about it also because to take this survey a step further, what I did is I solicited some DJs online, on Facebook, and some other areas, and had them fill out basically the same survey, but I flipped it and said, how do you feel about venue managers? How do you feel about wedding planners? And gave them the exact same list of questions. And my point is that what I want to show, here's when we get to the end, I'll give you a more ideal description, is where, as DJs and entertainers, we look at it from this side. The wedding planner looks at it from this side, and then the bride is over here looking at it from this end. And there's 3 competing arguments, if you will. And I don't want to use the word argument, but there's 3 different ideas and frames of mind there. Whose is the most important? That's the tricky part. And I think sometimes what happens is we miss the forest for the trees because our ego gets in the way and we keep approaching it from the same way. We keep trying to go up the steps, and maybe, according to the wedding planner, it'd be easier if we just stepped around it. There's different ways to absorb this information and kind of take it to heart. So the eating and drinking one I always thought is a very interesting response, because when we get to the DJ's responses, you'll see the varying difference. And we'll talk a little bit more about it there. I then asked 3 essay questions. Why do you refer the DJs that you do refer? And what I did is I went through all the responses, and I didn't want to put every response up here on the screen. But I picked out the buzzwords and the words that really repeated a lot. See the words in bold: music selection, attitude, reliability, personality. Those are words that were used on more than one line to answer more than one question. You can probably assume what the next question is going to be, right? Why do you refer the DJs you do? Why don't you refer the DJs? Some DJs you don't give referrals to because of almost the exact same things. Personality, attire, attitude, music selection, things like this. And again, it's just, these are things that a lot of us probably know, we probably kind of take to heart, but it's sometimes you need a little reinforcement from somebody else to say, hey, you know what? Who's married in here, guys especially? So I have one of those wives who is does an amazing job of keeping my ego in check. You know, she's one night I said to her, "What's it like to be married to a rock star?" And she goes, "I don't know. If I meet a rock star, I'll ask his wife." So, you know, that's her job. She does a really good job at it. And she's constantly on me when I see things, especially, you know, we're detail people. We see things, we go to other events, we see things on TV, and I go, "Oh, look at that, look at that." She goes, "You know what? Nobody sees that. Nobody sees that stuff. Only you see that stuff." That's kind of also what got me thinking, well, what's everybody else seeing? What are they seeing? What are they hearing? What are they experiencing? And so that's why I kind of wanted to pull this all together. The last and final question I asked on the survey was, what can every DJ do better? I'll kind of run through these a little bit. Time management was a big one. A lot of complaints about time management, not getting there on time, not leaving themselves enough time to get set up, having to rush, having to finish setup while guests are eating dinner or guests are arriving. Timeline. A lot of complaints about you know, not following the timeline, not knowing the timeline, not being aware of the timeline, which I thought was interesting. If you go back to the earlier slides where they said, well, we don't want you to be in a meeting with me and the bride, but now we expect you to be in charge of the timeline and understand how that's supposed to flow. You can see there's where these questions come up, and these questions and these contradictions are the tools that are going to help us advance, because when we know the contradictions, we can approach those. The things that are common sense are common sense. It's the areas that aren't. Volume, it's too loud. Communication, that was another big one. Not talking with the event manager, not talking with the planners, not communicating, you know, all that stuff. These things seem so basic, but it's amazing how many people overlook them. And how I wish we could get this information out to every wedding DJ in the world, you know, that they could all see this and hear this and be, you know, come and join the 1%ers, you know. We're getting jackets and everything. DJ eating and drinking. These are the responses compared to the other one. I guess I got ahead of myself there, didn't I? Communication. All right. This is my 1 to 5 rating. I think I might have mixed up my order. No, I didn't. The numbers in orange or red, I'm colorblind, whatever they are on this side, those are the DJ responses. The inside ones are from the venue responses. So you can see they're pretty close to on par for the most part. But there's some slight differences, and I think here if we broke this down and we had 150 DJs and 150 venues, you might see where the numbers would start to separate and they would start to split a little bit. Like I said, the interesting one where I thought it really proved the point of what I was trying to get across with this is that how we look at things differently than other people do is the eating and the drinking one. And the reason I put that together, a lot of people ask, well, you know, I got a response from a DJ who did the classic ego mistake that you see all the time, especially online, and instead of just answering the questions and saying, oh, here's your information, picked apart the survey. Well, this doesn't make sense, and this doesn't make sense, and you can't do this. And, you can get the same information if you go to the NOT. I don't want the NOT. I want real life. I want you guys to tell me what this is all about. And his response was, eating and drinking can't be together because it's in our contract that we eat, but we would never drink. Which is more professional, which is less professional. I don't know. I think if you're not going to drink, well, if you're trying to look professional at a formal event, why is it okay for you to sit down and eat a meal, but it's not okay for you to have a cocktail? If it's why is it okay to do either one? You know. So I've always been a firm believer in don't eat, don't drink. You know, do one or the other. Turns out most of the venues don't really care. I mean, some care and some don't. One response I saw was, I just don't want a drunk DJ. You know, it doesn't matter. And it's kind of that. Again, the image as DJs that we've all created for ourselves. Not necessarily us, but the industry image is you think of the DJ, you think of the guy out by his van smoking a cigarette, you know, nipping off a bottle, coming in all loaded. Where's Grandma? We're going to dance. And we've worked so hard to break that stereotype, you know. And that's part of where that problem comes from, is that when people think of a DJ drinking, they don't think of a DJ sitting down and having a meal with the guests and a glass of wine. They think of a DJ swilling Jack Daniels and jumping off of tables. So there's a big difference between those two things, isn't there? It's all perception. It's all how you look at it. It's all about that reality. And so that's where you have to decide. I don't care if you drink or eat or don't drink or don't eat. It doesn't matter to me. But my point is that make sure you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. You know, and talk to these venues about it. And most of them probably won't. You know, it comes down to a personal thing. So I mentioned now it's your turn. That's kind of where this is all designed to go. The next obvious step here is to go from this little bit of information, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there's so much more information that we can glean and gather and pull in and research here. But the next step is to go to the brides. That's the next logical step. And I really wanted to do that, to add this to this, but I thought it would be better as more of a take-home assignment, if you will. Talk to the brides, you know, find out. You got married a year ago. How important were these things to you? You know, how important do they seem now? You got married 3 years ago. How important do they seem? One thing I would suggest that I think would make it easier to give you better and more accurate information is find a buddy in a different market and swap. That came out all wrong. Whoa, you guys didn't know the after lunch show was really crazy. Swap lists of past clients. You know, if you don't want to feel awkward about calling a past client or contacting a past client, for a great example, there's a gal who works at one of the hotels here in Apple Valley, and absolutely loves me. I love her. She's fantastic. We're going to run away together someday, I'm sure of it. But I contacted her. She's the first person I sent one of these surveys to, and she was like, "I'll fill it out, but just so you know, you're a rock star. You do a great job." Okay, thank you. But it's not about me. I don't want you to judge me. I want you to judge DJs in general and what your feelings are about these topics. She said, "Well, okay, I'll do that, but I still think you do a great job." You know what she did? She never filled out the survey. She never returned it. She just told me I was a rock star and that my handout card could be flashy, and that was that. Thanks for the input. I'm going to change that. But you see, my point is, if you start calling past brides, they might be critiquing you and saying, "Oh, you were awesome. All fives. That was great." But if you call someone else's brides, and so you say, "Oh, here's 5 brides from a year ago, and 5 brides from 3 years ago, and 5 brides from 5 years ago. Now you give me the same," and now I can call and say, "Hey, we're doing some research about wedding stuff," and you'd be surprised with some emails and some phone calls. When I emailed wedding venue managers and places, I got 0 response. I took a day in the cities, and I worked this strip right here, the 494 strip, because this is kind of a wedding factory. You know, look at this facility right here. I talked to these guys and all the other ones, and you went up to the front desk and talked to the manager, and I said, "I want to talk to the person in charge of wedding sales," and she'd come out, and I'd say, "Here's what I'm doing, and here's why I'm doing it." And I had this form, and if you fill it out, all you need was a self-addressed stamped envelope to mail it back to me, and they were looking for pens to fill it out on the spot, because they're so frustrated as a whole of the job that, I say we, but I mean collectively, we as an industry that we do, that that they start to do things like say, "You know what, I bet we could do it ourselves. You know, if we put a mirror ball hook on the ceiling, a couple of pins where we can hang some trussing, we could have our own DJs. We could get our own," and this is where, when you start to glean this information, and you can take these surveys and go to your own hotels, go to your own venues, and talk to them. And then when you find these contradictions, like let the event manager manage the event, but I want you to know the timeline and be the MC, now you can approach them and say, "Hey, look, I'm willing to work with you. I want to come and talk to you. I want to know your bride. I want to know your timeline. I want to know the feel of things." And when you do it in that manner, now suddenly you look like a professional. Now the venue manager is probably going to be a little more likely to say, "Okay, maybe a meeting with him and bride and groom and me isn't such a bad idea," because we can all be on the same page. What you're doing is you're just building their trust. You're showing that you're making an investment, not only in yourself, but in them and in your client as well. Another interesting point I found from the same gentleman who critiqued the survey, and one of his comments was, "Well, why would a venue care if I eat or drink anyway? That's none of their business." I would tell, if a venue manager came up to me and told me I couldn't eat or drink, I'd probably tell him to go F himself. And I thought, okay, well, that's your option. You're certainly, that won't hurt the image of the DJ industry at all. I think we all know, especially because as ego, I forgave you, it's all right, you brought me lunch. Actually, they didn't. We all know, because of our own egos and our own attitudes and our own confidence, of what we can do and how we can do it. And we know that we need to be professional, and we know that we need to be the experts. Mitch talked about it earlier. If you come in as the expert and the professional, people tend to trust you and they'll start to take your side a little bit more. Now, step out of that a little bit and get away from your own ego and think, you suppose that venue manager, catering manager, wedding planner, you think she's trying to be the expert too? It's her hotel. If things go well, things run smooth, people might consider having their wedding in this facility also. She's trying to do her job the same way we're trying to do ours. If we all step up to the professional plate and eat at the big kids table, what'll happen is you'll find a way that you can work around these problems and not create them. I don't know why it is, but maybe it's because we're DJs, maybe it's because of the ego thing, but everybody wants to get confrontation. It's always a confrontation. It doesn't have to be a confrontation, it can just be a conversation. That's what it is. It's just finding these doorways that you can get in touch with these people and talk to them and say, listen, why? You know, why don't you do this? And they go, I don't like DJs. I had one guy actually fill out the thing that says, we don't refer DJs. And then where it says, why don't you refer DJs? He wrote down nothing. Well, how are we going to get better if we don't know what we're doing wrong? You know, we can't improve on that. But that's the problem. We've created this boundary over the years, and now we have to find a way to get through that boundary. And I think it's possible, but we have to learn to think outside of the box a little bit. We have to break away our own ego. We have to kind of find a way to get past that information and really kind of move forward and explore that. And I think getting the brides involved, past brides, and finding out what they liked, what they didn't like. Because I think we all know, I mean, how many times have you talked to brides or you've talked to mothers when you're in that first consultation meeting with your bride and groom and the mom's there, and mom says, oh, and I got married, we did this, and then after, how did we do that? Any of you that are married, ask your own wives. They're probably going to say, I want to do it again. That's the first thing every bride says, Monday morning, I want to do it again, and this time I'm going to do this instead of this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. So let's go back and find out. Let's help the future brides say, wow, that was awesome, instead of, next time I'm going to do it this way. And I think maybe we can all kind of pull together and change the industry as a whole, really. Any questions? That's pretty quick, but right on time. Look at this mess. Look at this mess. I'll tell you what, the card gag was much funnier last night at 2 a.m. as I was finishing this presentation. I thought, that'd be funny, I'll pretend like I dropped
Ever
something.
since you brought it up.
One more time, ladies and gentlemen, Jim Palmer. We are going to turn our attention to the back of the room. We're going to all glare at those really, really bright lights back there. Jeffrey, are you back there somewhere?
I'm right here.
Good. Stay standing right
So
there.
we can see you. Where's the camera?
There we go. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to turn. Is that speaker? I'll turn the microphone over. Jeffrey, you're going to walk us through a little bit. I'm going to switch batteries though because, well.
We want to hear what you're going to say. Do your thing, Matt. Absolutely.
Hey, we're catching up over here.
We need a plan, Dustin. We need a plan. We do. We need a plan. We need a leader of that plan. I vote for you.
Why's the black DJ in the back of the room? What's up with this?
I'm just making the racist thing, man.
John told me I couldn't do anything.
I can do it from the back or the front. I'm all right. No problem. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, and I want to, first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Jeff Short with Chauvet DJ. Along with my colleagues, that's Anna and that's Jelani. And we are so thrilled to be here at DJ Conclave. We want to thank John Young from the Disc Jockey News and everyone else for their support, and of course, mostly to you guys for being here. Again, just like Jake said, the one percenters, the ones that are really trying to make a difference and taking the time. And so I appreciate just a few minutes today to kind of show you a few things. But you know, of course we have some really cool fixtures and toys to show you and share with you. But it's important, we want to let you know that more than how much stuff we sell to you, we have a real concern, and it's a real priority for us, for our whole company, to try to improve and contribute to the education of our profession and the improvement of our profession. Much like you, I am a working DJ. I am also primarily a band person. I'm a lifelong singer, and most of my gigs have been in the band world. But I do understand what it's like to be a working mobile entertainer and the challenges that we face. And we are dedicated at Chauvet DJ to trying to learn from all of you everywhere we go and try to contribute to making us all a better profession, a more profitable profession, and one that is elevated in the eyes of our clients. So in the interest of that, I wanted to share with you one of our latest projects, which we're very proud of, and I'm very proud to be the host of, and that is Chauvet DJ Academy. And Chauvet DJ Academy is brand new, and it's just what it sounds like. It's an online video course, or series of courses, that is a high priority for our company. And while I host the videos, the content from those videos has come from a number of different sources: product development guys, marketing guys, all of us in the profession, but most importantly, from all of you that we've gathered knowledge from, information from, feedback from over the years in everywhere we go. And so there are levels to Chauvet DJ Academy, and there's a brand new website, chauvetdjacademy.com, and there are, in each level, there are videos that you watch, and then you pass a quiz and move on to the next video, and then you can get swag and prizes and VIP points, and it's tied into our VIP rewards program. So please, 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 when you get a second, log on to chauvetdjacademy.com. We want your feedback. We want to continue to learn from you and continue to share with you things that we've learned from all over the world, really. So we're very proud of Chauvet DJ Academy, as well as all the projects here. We want to thank everybody, too, for coming to the pizza party last night. We had a lot of fun. And the reason I bring that up in terms of education is that there was already, in just that short time last night, some fascinating conversations that I overheard, that I was a part of, that just really feed into this whole concept of all of us working together, of these smaller DJ shows, conferences, whatever you want to call them, conclaves, where we really get to spend some quality time with each other and share ideas. And my new friend Kirk and I were talking, perfect example, brought up the fact that he doesn't use lights on his gigs for the most part. I think we were talking about weddings specifically, and he's certainly not the first person that I've heard say that. And most people assuming that because I work for Chauvet Lighting, that I might try to convince them or sell them or figure that out. And I love conversations like that. It's fascinating to me because the bottom line for us is we care about the most effective gigs for you guys, whatever that means. If your dance floors are full, if your clients are happy, if your phones are ringing, if your bank accounts are filling up, who cares if there's one single light there or not, okay? We just want to help make this industry grow. That being said, buy lots of lights because they're really cool. But no, it's serious, and I thank you, Kurt, for that discussion because I sort of pictured a dark dance floor and it's those sharing of ideas and viewpoints that really helps a lot. And those conversations we've had a lot over the last 24 hours. So this is really critical for us, and this is what we really like to sink our teeth into. So please, 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 and my title is Assistant Marketing Manager, Customer Engagement and Education. So it's my job to talk with you and learn from you and share these ideas. And I want to give you my card, and I want you to stay in touch with us and share those ideas and share pictures of what you guys are doing. Because it's not all about selling lights. It's about learning and elevating this profession. So before I got to any particular product, I really wanted to take a minute or two just to share those basic concepts from our viewpoint that are such a priority from where we're coming from. So by all means, stay in touch with me and with all of us at Chauvet DJ. The lights will take care of themselves. if the business takes care of itself. If we can elevate each other and the profession and learn, and I think you'll get a lot of great ideas from Chauvet DJ Academy. My biggest thing is, and I talked about this at a seminar at the Las Vegas DJ show. Thank you very much to Drax, by the way, for that. Just keeping that dance floor full from moment to moment, and what those realities of those moments are. And Alan and I got into a conversation today just about timeline order of things, you know. And he mentioned that here in the Midwest, it's done a certain way normally. And I found that interesting, and I wanted to talk about, you know, what does a normal way mean, you know? And so we got into a conversation about that, meaning grand entrance, cut the cake, first dance, blah, blah, blah. What order of things happen? And in Las Vegas, I was talking about for me, the most important thing is the emotional arc of those timelines. And these are the type of things we talk about in the Academy. Because I come from a theatrical background too, I understand the sort of science of audiences and how they respond to certain emotional stimuli. And what we're trying to do is build emotional peaks and sort of a smooth transition from one emotional moment to another. Because we know that audiences respond better with those transitions of emotion. It's no different than a DJ with excellent mixing skills. We normally don't go from this BPM to a drastic change in BPM or a drastic change in genre or energy. We usually have transition songs, and we kind of read the audience and figure out what they're responding to. The guests on the dance floor are the same as any other audience, and they respond in very similar ways to an audience sitting in a theater, to an audience sitting at a rock concert. There are certain consistent sciences that we know. So the high energy of a grand entrance, ideally, if we follow this sort of mentality, would be followed by another high energy moment or a high emotional moment, which is why I, for one, and I'm just one person, love to have the first dance after the grand entrance, because it's a smooth transition. It's the last time we'll get everybody's undivided attention. It's a very emotional moment, and it's those type of things that I love to talk about with you guys. And it has nothing to do with what fixture we're talking about or what light we're trying to sell. Okay, so I want to get into those conversations with you, and obviously I could talk forever about this stuff because it's so fascinating to me as an entertainer. But time is short, and I do want to talk about a couple of things that we have to share with you here today. So without further ado, let me just point out a couple products that I think would be of great interest to all of you, because they are really, really cool. And by the way, Kirk then continued to show me a picture. I don't use lights, and he shows me this picture of this amazing light-up dance floor that the guests are on, and I'm like, what is that? Oh, well, yeah, I'm just talking, that's just my dance floor. But, so lights do make a difference, in my mind. But, Kirk, as long as your dance floor is full, God love you. So what we have here, guys, is we have a few new products that I want to draw your attention to. The first being a brand new Intimidator moving headlight, the Intimidator Spot 100 IRC. It's a very small, compact moving headlight, very fast. It's lit by one, I believe it's a 10-watt LED, and it's remote controllable with an IRC, remote control. Excellent product, very lightweight, easy to, in terms of mobile entertainers, this is a fantastic moving headlight. We also have the brand new, the Slim Power Hex 6 IRC. Jelani will hold that up. The Slim Power Hex is just what it sounds like. Hex is a 6-in-1 LED light, the 6 being RGB, AW, and UV, all in one LED. The LEDs in that are 7-watt, I believe, LED. There's 3. I'm sorry, 9-watt. Thank you, Jelani. The cool thing about that is it's the profile of the fixture itself sits flat on the floor. It's got a flat bottom, and all of the inputs are on the side, so it's really easy to kind of daisy chain them together. Power linking, DMX controllable, it works. Excellent, very versatile, compact fixture that sits right on the floor. Another new fixture is the, we have the Intimidator Spot 350 in white, which we've had the 350 for a long time, but in white is a brand new option, which is, as far as aesthetically goes, for weddings and things like that, you can't beat that. That's a 75 watt LED in the Intimidator. What else, guys? Oh, the Wedge Tri. The Wedge Tri. For any of you that know about the our sort of pre-assembled or prefabricated arch kits, our trussing kits. We have one that's the arch kit and one that's the goalpost kit. Those are smaller 35 millimeter trussing systems, which are different than the standard totems there. They're triangular trussing units. The Wedge Tri is designed to fit right into those trussing systems. And so there's three, these are RGB LEDs, and those are the 3 watt. And the nice thing about that is the variety of mounting options. So there are different thread sizes on each side of the Tri, so you can mount it from the bottom, from the top, through an angle like that, going to that side of the arch kit, to the side. You can mount it anywhere. And when you see these trussing systems lit with these types of things, it's amazing. And the price point on those Wedge Tris can't be beat either. So that's a brand new product. Lots of other stuff, obviously. Our Freedom series of battery-operated lights, wireless lights, the Freedom Par RGBA. So a ton of stuff to talk about with all of you guys. Chauvet DJ Academy. What, am I forgetting anything, guys? We have the Gobo Shot 50 watt IRC is a brand new thing, but that's not sitting on the table right at the moment. But lots of catalogs, t-shirts. Check out Chauvet DJ Academy, and please continue to stay in touch with us so that we can continue to learn and help each other, for sure. Oh, yes, absolutely. We also have, this is the Chauvet DJ wedding brochure, and what this is it's meant to give to you, to give to your clients, to help upsell lighting services. So it's got examples of all the sorts of different categories of lighting, from uplighting, accent lighting, effect lighting, atmospheric effects. It's got amazing photographs, and it's kind of a quick reference guide that you can give to your clients to help sell those services, if those are services that you sell, and I think most of you do. It can also be customized with your logo on these things, so we can produce that as well. There's a number of different options that we can tell you about. So by all means, come pick up one of these, take a look, and if you want them customized, we can do that for you as well through email and things like that. So that's the Chauvet DJ wedding brochure. Some brand new products, Chauvet DJ Academy. Guys, thank you very much, and I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate meeting and talking with all of you. So stay in touch.
We're going to take about a 10-minute break. Sabrina is going to run up to open up the suite at 322. So you can go up and grab a beverage. We've got water and some pop things up there. We've got some snacky bars, so you can go grab something. And be back down here in about 10 minutes or so. We'll get Ben Stowe. He is dressed for success up on the stage right now. We're going to hang him in places that he hasn't been hung before. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
I just say have